Hello everyone, Schematist here, and I'm back with another tutorial on how to build an RPG field theme song. Again, I was inspired by my favorite composer Uematsu and the classic works of RPG titles such as Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy IV. Well, let's get right into this. This is basically going to be for beginners who are getting their feet wet with FL Studio or Logic or Cubase. I found that when I'm creating these genres and these this type of music here for fields, they generally follow the same format, and the intro here is going to be the main foundation. I think the main purpose of this is to kind of condition the listener or the player to your melody, your harmony, and your tempo. So let me play what I have so far. So that's the intro. Basically, once you have that kind of hammered out, you can keep that same exact melody and recopy it right next to it. I made a swift variation in this pattern here, which you can see guitar 3, but it wasn't too drastic. I only changed about the last 3 or 4 notes so that it linked in perfectly to the guitar pattern 2 here, which is basically the main hook of the song. But more on that a little bit later. So I kept the organ pattern the same, as you can see, organ and organ. The only thing I really changed here was the addition of the electronic piano, some chords to add some more atmosphere, and some strings here for some more warmth. I feel if you add a couple of instruments, not too many, just to make it subtle enough that there's a change happening, some movement, then the listener won't get as bored. So here's the second section that I have now. And that's pretty much it. Now, this section here is the main part of the song. As a matter of fact, I feel like this is the song itself. This is the part that pretty much the player's going to want to hum, and the part that gets stuck in their head. Because now the intro did its job. It kind of led us up to this moment. So, with guitar pattern 2, I kept the same tempo and everything, but I made the melody a little bit edgier. And it was okay to do that because these guitar patterns here kind of laid the way for that to happen. So I actually started subtracting a lot of instruments, as you can see. I let the guitar and bass do all the work. I did add a flute here for a little bit of a kick, which, adds some nice variation. But basically, I wanted to keep the atmosphere of it being like more of a field, like a first stage, a beginner stage, maybe a forest, maybe a waterfall kind of a thing, and I didn't want to make it too distracting. So let's see what I have so far. And that's pretty much it. And then it ties back into the loop in this section here. I think this project was a little too short. I think I might actually add an additional section, probably right in this area, before I tie it back into the loop. But I think just showing what I have so far kind of shows the possibilities on how to even start one of these songs. If I decided to not add another section here, it still works because it does tie back in pretty effectively and smoothly. And as you can see here in the time, it's about, a minute and 50 seconds. That's enough time, that's more than enough time, I feel, where you can loop the track and the player doesn't get bored or, you know, kind of feel like it's stale. You know, the main thing you want to do is tell the beginning, the middle, and end. And that's what that basically this breakdown is for. This part here highlights the beginning of the song, where this is the middle, and I guess the end here can be the loop, back where it ties in. And the flutes do a good job of leading you back into that kind of ending phase. One thing I want to mention here, though, I love this bass line, and I love the bass I used. However, I got it from Shreddage X, and it is a little too bassy. So don't feel afraid of using parametric EQ2, which is really good for kind of controlling your parameters here, your parameters. So I actually lowered the low end a lot on the bass because I felt it was a little too muddy. But if you kind of tone that down and just roll off the low end, your bass is going to be really, really crisp and not too distracting and not too kind of, you know, distorted. But I hope this helped, and if you have any questions, of course, just give me a message. I'll be happy to help. Take care, guys.